So it was a hot day, and I decided I didn't really want to take a long bike ride. So I decided to go out to Birdsboro and check out this area that has a lot of neat stuff. Now, one thing about Birdsboro is there are a couple of grade crossings for this little railroad spur that goes to a quarry. And a couple of times I've seen some very long trains full of trap rock, the rock they use for, drainage and stuff like that. But here I am at the park, and this is a road that washed out. It's a bridge that washed out. And that's why this is now really kind of a park, because there were two bridges on this road that were washed out, so they never replaced them. So now, if you want to get across the river to that old road, you go across these wires. There are two of these, one at the beginning, one at the end, that go over this creek. Now, this creek is, I happened upon an environmental report on Google, and I'm reading, and it turns out this is a very pristine creek. It actually is fed also by a spring that used to be kind of famous. People from Philly would take the train out and then a carriage, and they would take the waters up on this mountain. And for years they bottled it, and apparently if you hike up in the woods, the buildings are still there where they bottled the water from this spring. I wish I could remember the name of the river. So I heard some, as I'm walking up the old abandoned road, I hear some voices in the woods and some splashing. So I figure, hey, must be some swimming going on. So I go back here, and sure enough, there are a bunch of kids playing in the water. What they're doing actually, well, it sounds like so much fun, is they're riding their bikes into the water. I felt a little self-conscious filming them, so I didn't get that on tape, but that's what they were doing. They were riding into this swimming pool. This is a retaining wall. That's a railroad up there that carries the trap rock out that we saw in the beginning. There he is, dragging his bike out of the water. I don't know what they do. I think they ride in, jump off, dive off, because you could get kind of hurt doing that. So about midway up the road, this bridge did not wash away and is perfectly fine. Kind of funny how they, I guess they had trouble with bridges here on this creek, and so then they built this nice strong one that would withstand any flood. But one on either side of it went, so this one is still there, and it'll probably be there for quite a while. Here's a little area, self-improvement. It doesn't look like the town. I think this is a town park, actually. I don't think they do anything back here to other than some cleanup now and then. There is a big rock climbing area in an old quarry up the mountain where I've seen, I saw posters and stuff to come help clean it up, and it's apparently quite a attraction for rock climbers. So there's the train being pushed up the hill to the quarry. Trap rock. It's trap rock. So this road was abandoned in 1983. 93, 102. So that's 30 years, and most of the road is still there 30 years later, but it's going. So this is a gate to the quarry. I didn't hear any air horns. I was waiting to hear an explosion, but I did not. It's a very big operation. The trains that carry that stuff are very long. So here's the other wire bridge. I think they call it a wire bridge. They're very tightly strung wires. And, yeah, you know, it's a little tricky, but not bad. Not bad. This was an interesting spot. As you'll see a little later, there's a couple of weird things here. This looked like the remnants of a dam, and it might have been, but what that actually is it's a pipe that's set in concrete through the stream. So I don't know if this was a water supply pipe. I don't think it'd be a sewer, it's too small. So at one time it was probably a water supply. On the left there you see a little bit of a concrete wall, which there'll be more of later, which is the continuation of that railroad we saw. It actually stops in the quarry now. But at one time it crossed this creek. And where it crossed the creek now, you know, the bridge is out for the railroad too. Oh, that's kind of spooky, huh? Turn back. So this is the other end of the road. And you can see across the stream where, you know, that's where it continued. I'm actually on the other side now. And there's the stream. So this is, the railroad came directly off of this and crossed the stream right here. This is gone. But of course, what that means is there's an abandoned railroad continuing across the stream, which we'll see in a minute. Which of course means bike trail. And I checked on Google Maps, and yes, there is a dirt trail. So here it is. This is where it begins after that washed out bridge. And sure enough, you can see definitely a rail bed. You can tell by the gentle curve and how flat it is. And right away, here's a railroad cut through some rock. Got very buggy back here, so I turned around and came back. But later in the car, I drove around and tried to find the other end. It was quite a drive to get around there. It was funny. I mean, I only walked a mile on this road, maybe. But maybe even less. So here's a kind of magnificent bridge that's still intact. I figured that I could drive here, so that's why I stopped here. But as it turned out, the road is closed much further up. This is all still closed to traffic. There's a gate. So this bridge had had a nice plaque. 1908, I think it was built. And some interesting graffiti. There's another entrance to the quarry. You can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but through that break in the trees is the edge of the quarry. It's kind of big. And here's some advice from, I guess, the young people. There's the plaque, Trap Rock Bridge, 1908. Yeah. Bunch of German names. I always see German names. Now, where are you? Kind of a graceful little bridge. I think this says What does it say? The celebration of life begins here. In a very nice hand, I must say. I guess they still do teach penmanship somewhere. Any teachers out there? So, okay, here I am. I was this was a solo trip, so no one to film me, but here I am crossing the bridge with the camera around my neck. It's a little unsteady, but pretty secure. Yikes, is he going to make it? Oh my God. Oof. There's your filmographer. So, that's it. Eh, just an exploration. Hot day. Cool in the woods. Bye.